Hello everybody, it's Claire and welcome to the third of 5 tutorials for this beautiful Joanna Basford page from World of Flowers. If you've been following along, you'll have got to the stage where we did tutorial 1, which was the beautiful dawn sunrise. Then tutorial 2, we put the river in and captured the wonderful sunlight in the water. And today we're going to be looking at the hills. And you can see I've done quite a lot of prep work. It's aimed at keeping the tutorial pretty short, but everything that you will need to know, you will hear me explain as we go along. So we're going to be looking at the trees, as I say, the hills, and we're going to put some little rocks in up here. And I'll just show you the really, really easy steps. Again, let me stress, my drawing skills are pretty poor. So these fir trees are really, really simple, and I'm sure that if you have a different technique to improve on them, I'm sure you'll be able to use it. Okay, so we're going to look at this side first. We're going to colour these hills in first. Okay, so I'm just going to check, because I know there's a shadow on the page today because it's pretty late on in the day here in the UK, but we're going to be starting here, so I think that's pretty well in shot. Now, when we drew in the pencil drawing, the background, we put in 4 sets of valleys, hills, and we thought about perspective, and what we'd said was the further you get away into the background, because it's in the distance, the hills would be slightly, if I just point with my pencil, would be slightly smaller and get wider as we come forward. Now the same is true for the colours. So the further you get back into the distance, you would find that the colours of the hills would be a lot more grey, misty, subtle colours, pastel colours. And as you come forward, the colours in perspective get bolder, they get brighter, they get more vibrant. So I've actually got 4 separate palettes for each of these hills, and I shall take you through each stage. Okay? So what do we need for the first one? I'll put my grey pencil back down. So we're going to work backwards and come forwards in the picture. So what I've got in my hand, and don't worry about writing these down as usual, I'll put them in the description. I've got light peach, which is PC927, and I'll tell you why I've got that in a moment, because you'll be thinking she's going to colour the grass peach colour. I've got canary yellow, which is PC916. I have jade green, which is PC1021. These are all Prismacolors. And I have my grey green light, which is PC289. Okay, so I'm just going to take my canary yellow and my light peach. And you will remember that we used the canary yellow in the outer circle of the sun, and we used the light peach as part of the beautiful dawn sunrise palette. Now, the reason I've pulled these 2 out is because I want to catch those 2 colours of that sunrise. So in the same way we caught it in the water, I want to catch it on the top of the hills, just to make that sunlight reflect on the grass of the moors. So very, very simply, I've got my canary yellow, and I'm going to follow the outline. Just making sure my hand isn't in the way. Now, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do a dashed line, and this is medium firm. I'm going to do a dashed line. And what you would tend to find is that the brighter sunshine colours would catch where you've got the hills kind of going, the top of the hills is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to kind of do a little dashed line with my canary yellow like that. Very, very easy. I'm going to go to my light peach, and I'm just going to follow the line, and anywhere that I hadn't put that canary yellow, I'm just going to put some light peach in there. Really, really straightforward. Okay. Now, the 2 colours I've got for this very back hill are my jade green and my grey green light. And they're because, as I mentioned there, it's further in the background, they're misty colours, so those are the 2 that we've pulled out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a blend line very gently. And bear in mind, I've got 2 colours, so I'm just going to kind of half this width with my colours. And I'm just going to gently put myself in a little blend line, scumble in little circles, just up to these trees. And don't worry, I will show you, I've left this part blank here because I'm going to show you how to put a tree in. It was just that if you watched me do the trees 5 or 6 times, the tutorial will become immensely long. So it's always useful for me to do some prep work. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just in a firm pressure go over my light pencil line so that I can see where my other jade green colours need to go. Okay, so everything behind that blend line we can just quickly block colour in with a medium firm pressure, but don't go over your blend line. And again, I won't be using a blender pencil. I find that these pencils blend really well on their own, but if you want to, by all means. And I should say that, again, this is your picture. You can place these trees and these rocks anywhere you want. They can live, well, let's quote Bob Ross, anywhere you want in your world, you can put things in. You can make additions. And it's quite nice if yours isn't quite the same as anybody else's. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly take my grey-green light, firm pressure, scumble over that blend line to start with, just mix it in to the jade green. And I don't use my jade green pencil very often, to be honest, but it is a beautiful colour and it's perfect for this. There we go. And then I can quickly, very quickly, very easily, very straightforward, block colour in up to my canary yellow or my light peach. Now then, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sharpen this grey-green light ever so slightly, and I'm just going to be careful to go in between the branches of my tree because I want those branches to still have their detail. And don't worry, I'll show you when we get to here with the trees. And I'm just going to go quickly back to my jade green, just gently, very light, just go over the blend line to make it invisible. Okay, so that's our back layer in, it's our back hill in. Okay, and now then, let me look at my notes. So I am finished with my jade green, so I can put my jade green to one side. Now what I want is, for this second hill, I am pulling out my sap green light, which is PC 120. I'm pulling out my pale sage, which is PC 1089, and I've got my grey-green light still in my hand. So remember what we said at the start, these are slightly darker colours and slightly more vibrant colours than this back layer, okay? Because as things come forward, they're more in, they're closer to your eye line, so they would get bolder and brighter. So we're going to start with the deepest of these three, which is my, I know it's a shorty, but it doesn't matter. It's sap green light. Actually, sorry, no, we're going to go back. Sorry about that. We're going to go back again to our canary yellow and our light peach and just do the same on this outline. So again, just in dashes, pick out the line, medium firm pressure in those two colours, just so it captures the sunlight on the top of that hill. Like that. Right, now I can go to my sap green light. And I've got three colours this time, so I'm kind of wanting to make this divided into 3 equal parts. So again, I'm going to put my blend line a third of the way up. Very gently, just scumble in a blend line. Where do I want to be? I want to be up here into these flowers. Okay, and then I'm going to firm pressure, just re-outline and go over that pencil. And this is why we did the pencil drawing quite lightly, so that when we cover them up with the coloured pencils, you can't see them. Okay, so again, same thing. Everything behind this blend line gets a medium to firm pressure, and we block colour it in. And again, I'm just going to be careful of my tree. I'm going to take that colour up into the branches. just going to be careful around the base of the tree. Just blend it in slightly into that brown. And what you can do is, if when you've done your trees, like I'm going to show you two in a minute, if you think you've kind of, you know, made the edges too fuzzy, you can go back to your green. In this case, it's dark green, and just with a very sharp tip, just put them in. And you can do the same with the light umber if you just wanted to gently put in that tree stump. Sorry, the base of the tree. Right, now I'm going to go to my mid green, which is my pale sage, another beautiful colour. Same thing, and put a blend line very gently. Oh, let me start going behind this tree. So I'm just going to go back to my darker green. Yes, there's my line there, look. Done it so light you could barely see it. There we go, just being careful of that daffodil. Pale sage. Okay, so firm pressure over the blend line of the sap green light. Just meld it in. Up to the blend line. Very simple, block colouring. Just being careful of my tree. And clearly you can take, you know, you can take more care. You don't have to be as quick in terms of the purposes of keeping the tutorial short. You can take your time and enjoy it. Then we'll just finish this bit off behind the daffodil. I think we'll have a little bit poking out there. Okay, then I'm going to go to my grey-green light again. And I'm basically going to do the same. Firm pressure over the blend line of a pale sage. Careful of my tree. And then everything else gets block coloured in. And you can place these trees quite strategically. Putting the sun where we do in the centre of the page focuses your eye on the centre of the page. It draws you in. But you can also be quite clever with where you place your trees. And I've kind of made mine an avenue. So the further you get forward, the closer they are in together. So it just kind of spreads that view out like that. Just be a little bit clever. As I say, you can put your trees wherever you want, but just be trying to think a little bit cleverly about the placement so they draw your eye into the centre with the help of that sun. It's almost like a tableau, kind of like displaying the centre of the page. Okay, pretty happy with that. Now, trees, fir trees. And you'll probably laugh when you see me do this because it's so simple, it's pretty ridiculous. But my drawing skills aren't great, so there you have it. So for the trees, I've got light umber, which is PC941. I have dark green, which is PC908. I have grass green, which is PC909. And I have my chartreuse, which is PC989. I'm going to start with my light umber, my brown colour. And we're going to put in, I'm actually going to put a pair of trees in. Now, just take 1 second to look. Clearly, the further you go into the background, the smaller objects become. So these trees are small. This tree's slightly bigger. This tree's slightly bigger again. So if we're putting a tree or two in here, we want it to kind of be between this size and this size so that it looks right in perspective. So all I'm going to do is in a medium firm pressure, very simply, I'm going to draw myself a tree limb. I'm just going to take it out, splay it out a little bit at the bottom, like that. Really, really easy. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my dark green, and my dark green is very sharp. And I'm going to start slightly above in the middle there. Medium firm pressure. Just going to make little zigzags like that. gradually getting further out as we go down. And then try to do it as best you can, symmetrically on the other side. Okay? And just leave the bottom of the base of the tree standing out. Okay? Just going to give it a little hat. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is just medium firm strokes. So all I want to do, I'm just going to take that slightly further up into there actually. Very simply, flicks in a crisscross direction. So I'm going to cross that way, and then I'm going to cross that way. And I don't want to fill the whole space in, because I've got my two other greens that I want to use for my highlights. And then what is quite nice is just to exaggerate the outside of the fir tree a little bit more. Just do a couple of light flicks. Like that. Just so that we get some little branches sticking out. Okay, I'm going to go to my grass green. Again, crisscross strokes. Don't fill in all of the space. And again, it's a very sharp pencil. And then just finish off with the chartreuse. Voila, fir tree. Okay, now what I think is quite nice to do, we'll just give it a little friend. So you might not see, if I put it here, you wouldn't see the base. So let's just give it a little tree trunk there. Okay, I can put my dark umber to one side actually, finished with that. Our dark green, we start a little bit further up, medium firm, zigzags, and it's sitting behind the other one, so you wouldn't see this side of it. Okay. Give it a little hat. I'm just going to resharpen it. Crisscross strokes. Leave some space. Okay. A couple of lovely little flicks. Just be confident with them. I'm going to go to my grass green. Crisscross strokes. Chartreuse. We'll just fill in the rest of that. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. And what you can do, which I think is quite a neat trick, I've actually picked up my black pencil. And I'm going to sharpen it. And because you've got kind of deep greens going into each other, what you can do is just give a couple of little flicks to there, and it just helps. Can you see it's kind of outlined that tree against the other one quite nicely? I'll just go back to dark green and blend that in slightly. Two little trees happily living on the hill. Okay. I'm actually going to just take my light umber and just indicate just there, just very slightly, the base. Now then, we're going to do our third hill. So again, thinking about the deeper, bolder colours. I'm going to take my my two sunshine highlights, and then I'm going to go for Kelly Green, which is PC 1096, and I'm going to go back to my sap green light and my pale sage. Okay, start off with our highlights again. Careful around the top of the tree. Okay, now my deepest this time is Kelly Green. So I'm going to outline my drawing like that. Okay. Again, I've got 3 pencils in my hand, so I need to take this blend line I'm just going to re-pick up my black pencil actually. I'll tell you why in a second. Scumble in your blend line with your Kelly green. And now you can see why I did so much prep. Because if you had to watch me do this and then do it on the other side, it's kind of a little bit boring for you, I think. And I'm just going to be careful, just gently, light touch, go over the side of my pebbles that we put in the last tutorial. Like that. And then everything else, I can do in a firm hand. And some of you might know that I had a brilliant experience on Monday last week. I met the lady herself, Joanna Basford, in Scotland, in her native Scotland. I was lucky enough to spend an hour and a quarter with her over a cup of tea and a coffee. And I think, bar getting married, it was the best experience of my life ever. I cannot tell you what a wonderfully humble, down-to-earth, funny, really funny, brilliant sense of humour, so friendly, so chatty, makes you feel so at ease, absolutely cracking lady, brilliant lady. Not only is she talented, she's an absolutely fantastic person as well. And I think if you've seen her online as well, you get that impression with her about her personality, but she really, really is a lovely lady. Okay, I'm going to go to my sap green light, put in my little blend line again. Again, I'm working at speed, but you can take your time. Firm pressure over the blend line and up to your new blend line. And just be careful of your branches. And as I say, you can go back to your dark green and just re-outline them if you feel like you've fuzzied the edges. Just block colouring, medium firm. Nothing fancy. Like that. Okay. So I am just going to go back to my dark green and just give these a couple more flicks. I don't think I need my black actually. I was going to kind of do a little bit of flick to, because this green is quite similar to the dark green, but I think it stands out enough actually. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. So I'm going to go to my pale sage. Firm pressure. Take it into your tree branches, tree leaves, and up to your sunshine highlight. Medium firm. Easy peasy. Firm pressure over this blend line. Just meld it in. Being a little bit careful around the daffodil. And it's Mother's Day here in the UK tomorrow, which is why, even though it's quite late in the day here, I wanted to get this one, I think, released today so that I can spend some time with my mum. Mam, in this part of the world in northeast England. Me mam. Got some Geordie girls in our group, I'm sure we'll be smiling at that. Geordie is someone in England that comes from the northeast. Should be truly, in its truest form, Newcastle. Yes, I need that in there. Like that. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do, because that bit there looks a bit odd, I'm just going to take my 0.2 fine liner and just kind of finish it like that. And go back to my sap green light. That's better. Just looked a bit odd. Wasn't quite the right shape. There we go. Now then, I might need to, because there's a shadow down here, I'm aware there's a shadow. We're going to do this bottom hill, so I might need to move it up slightly. Where are we? I'm going to be working here, just so that it's in shot completely for you. So I am now going to pull out my olive green, which is PC 911. I'm going to go back to my Kelly green. I'm going to go back to my sap green light, but this time, because we're at the front, I want something bright at the top. So I'm going to pull out my chartreuse. Okay. I'm going to pick up my sunshine highlights. Canary yellow, light peach. Now then, the deepest of these colours is the olive green. So, I've got 4 colours this time. So I need to take that into account where I'm putting my blend line. Because I want it to kind of be like in 4 equal parts in terms of the colours. Like that. Now this is pretty dark, and although it's a different green to your tree, I think we'll put some black back onto that fir tree just to pull it out from this deep olive green. But let's just block colour this in first. Firm pressure, medium firm pressure. Just being careful around the tulips. And these daffodils here are abundant in the UK at this time of year, Easter time. Really, really pretty. And to be fair, they grow like weeds. They're not weeds, but they grow like weeds. Just being careful around these leaves. And the 4th and 5th tutorial we'll take one side of the flowers and then we'll take the other side of the flowers. So you'll get all the palettes. What do I need? My Kelly green. Kelly green. And what I'll do is I'll wait till I've done all of it and then go back to these black highlights, I think. So again, blend line. So this will take you to roughly about half the way up your hill, wherever you've positioned it. Okay. Medium firm over that blend line of the olive green and up to your new blend line. Just gone onto that leaf slightly there. Tombow mono eraser, clean tip. And as I say, you don't have to work at speed. Just take your time and enjoy it. And I'm just going to sharpen it slightly. Just get into that gap there. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my sap green light. Just a tiny bit there. Very gently. Firmer. Just gently into the tree branches. And can you see this is kind of getting a little bit fuzzy on this side, so we'll go back in a second. But you can't really put the trees in last, that's the thing. So you have to do it this way around. And just re-highlight where you need to. So I've seen some brilliant work in progresses that you've posted of these. give a shout out to Dina Mueller, who's done a lovely version so far with the tutorials. I've seen another couple of really already completed pages, but pages where you've just taken the design and ran with it. So I've seen a brilliant one, forgive me, I can't remember the name, I'm so sorry. But the lady had put in mountains in the background and had a couple of mushrooms in the foreground here. So they she'd used the palette, but just kind of used slightly brighter colours, I think, for the hills, but put hers with mountains in the background, and it was brilliant. And I think quite a lot of you have seen that, actually, because she got, well-deservedly, some fantastic feedback. Right, so now I go to my brightest, which is my chartreuse, and I'm just going to be a little bit careful because this is a bigger jump in colour. So I'm just going to gently scumble over that blend line there. Just take a little bit more care with this colour jump. And can you see how well that works, that brighter colour, because it's at the forefront of the picture? So again, everything else, we just quickly block colour in. And what I think I'll do is just go back to the sap green light and just quickly gently make this invisible. You see how that lovely highlight works? Right, now I'm going to go back to my very sharp dark green, and I'm just going to flick in, just re-outline the edges a little bit. Like that. And I think what I'll do is in the bottom, just so that it stands out against the river and against the olive green, just do a few little flicks in black, just so that we can distinguish it, the tree from the background. Okay, last little bit, we're going to do this here. So I need to double check that you are still in shot. Let's move it down a little bit. That's better. Right, we are going to draw a tree in first, and then we're going to put a rock in the background. So I've got my tree colours. I've got my 4 tree colours. So I think, I'm just looking at my original that I've got further up. Well, actually, Joanna got the original. I framed it for her and gave her it last week. So I'm just looking, I've got a print out of it. Yeah, it's behind this leaf here. And then what I'll do is, like I said in tutorial 1, this version will go off to Rashnar at the Indus Children's Hospital as a gift. So I'm just going to put it in here. And remember, we're pretty far back, so we don't want it to be all that tall. My dark green. And like I say, this is a ridiculously simple fir tree. I'm sure you will have a better drawing technique, but this works for me. Crisscross strokes, little flicks. Grass green, crisscross strokes, a little bit of chartreuse. Now, what I want to do is, just to make it interesting, we're going to have like a kind of a little boulder sitting here. So I have light to dark. I have my 70% cool grey, PC1065. I have my 50% PC1063. I have my 30%, 1061. I have my 20%, 1060. I have my 10%, 1059. And I have my, I've just pulled out my lime peel, 1005. Just, if you've seen the double page here, in fact. So I just pulled out my lime peel just to give an indication of kind of age and moss and dampness. I'll just put that tissue paper back there. Look. Careful not to knock the camera. Right, 70%, very sharp tip, because we're going to do the outline. So I'm just going to do it coming out from behind this tree. Just freehand. Just a little boulder that lives happily there. Like that. Draw that bottom bit in, just make that quite light, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, now I'm going to go to my, and we kind of want this in the same way that we did the pebbles on the beach. We kind of want this to be different colours, because the rock would be, you know, to have crevices, and it wouldn't be the same colour. So I'm just going to put little random shapes in, and go to my 50% and do the same. Like that. Go to my 20%. Just gives it a bit more of a realistic feel to it. 10%. And then all I'm going to do is just put in an indication of the lime peel here and there. And then what I think I'll do is just go back to my 50. Just in places. Just put in some more dark bits like that. It's that easy. Now I'm going to quickly grab my Kelly green and sharpen it up. And what I'm going to do at the base is just indicate a few little grassy strands, just covering the base of that rock. Now, I'm going to put in this background, which is the last job to do today. So if you remember, the colours we used for this, she says, looking at her notes, are sap green light, pale sage, and grey green light. Again, I'm just going to quickly do my sunshine highlights, and hopefully that's been a guide as to how you'll do these hills. Right, I'm just going to sharpen these pencils up because they're getting pretty blunt. These three. So I've just got an automatic pencil sharpener. I don't think it's any particular brand, but it looks like that. I also have a very, very posh swordfish one, but that's on the floor at the moment because there's not much room on the desk. Right, sap green. Blend line, 1/3 of the way up. We've got 3 colours in our hand. Just being careful of the rock, being careful of the tree, and I'm actually going to pick up my dark green again, just in case I have to re-outline the fir tree. I think we'll be alright though. And we just quickly block colour everything else. And it was such a treat to meet Joanna. She spent at least 20 minutes looking through my Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, and she even took some photographs, which was just a huge compliment. She loved the Pika page, Pika's Parlour. I think she liked the Calero paints, the blended Calero paints on his wings. And she also signed it for me, which is just so nice. I didn't like to pry and ask her about upcoming projects, because she could have told me, but then she might have had to kill me. So I know you're very curious, as curious as I am, but I kind of thought it wasn't very nice manners to pry. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go back to my Kelly green. Just re-outline that grass at the base, like that. What am I doing? What am I doing? Yes, dark green. Let's re-outline these little flicks. Pale sage. Light touch blend line. Just being a little bit more careful around these petals. And please do keep posting your work in progress, because I love to see it. It makes these tutorials so worthwhile, you wouldn't believe. And finally, my grey-green light. And there we have it, part 3 done. And I hope it's easier than you thought it was, because that's what I try to do. I try to make it easy for you. I try to make it easy for myself, to be fair. Done. Very last thing I think I'll do is just reapply these little flicks here in my dark green, and we are done. So again, I'll put all of the pencils in the description. Any questions, drop me a line, and I hope you have a go.